Kwanzaa! There are many holidays celebrated throughout the year in the United States, as well as in other parts of the world. One of these holidays is called Kwanzaa. The name Kwanzaa comes from the Swahili phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits of the harvest. The holiday was created in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga. Dr. Karenga was a professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University in Long Beach, California. Dr. Karenga started this holiday because of some recent riots or fights that had broken out in a Los Angeles neighborhood. He wanted to find a way to bring African Americans together as a community. His goal was to create a holiday where African Americans could celebrate their culture and their history. Kwanzaa festivities are based on African harvest celebrations. Those celebrations revolve around newly harvested or planted crops. Since it began in 1966, Kwanzaa has been celebrated by African Americans throughout the United States. It is a 7-day non-religious celebration that begins December 26th and ends January 1st. There are many traditions that are celebrated during the 7 days of Kwanzaa. But at the heart of the Kwanzaa celebrations are 7 symbols and 7 principles. Here is a look at each of the 7 symbols of Kwanzaa and what they represent. Kikombe Cha Umoja means the unity cup. Drinking from this cup on the 6th day of Kwanzaa is meant to honor and remember African ancestors. It is also a sign of unity. Before drinking from the cup, each person says, Harambe, meaning, let's pull together. Kinara is the name of the candle holder.
Can you say Kinara?
Kinara.
Right, it's a candle holder.
The Kinara holds 7 candles. The candles symbolize stalks of corn that branch off to form new stalks. This is symbolic of how the human family is created. It also celebrates the idea that through children, future hopes of each family come to pass. Mazao is the name for crops. Fruits, nuts, and vegetables represent the crops and the work that went into growing them. During Kwanzaa, fruits, nuts, and vegetables are placed on a special mat as gifts for everyone to enjoy. These foods are a reminder to the people celebrating Kwanzaa of the fruits that nourish the people of Africa. Mishumaa Saba is the name for the 7 candles that sit on top of the Kinara. The 7 candles represent the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. The 3 colors of Kwanzaa are red, black, and green. They are important symbols in ancient Africa. Green symbolizes the fertile land of Africa and represents the future. Black is the color of the people. And red represents the blood that was shed in the struggle out of slavery. 3 red candles are placed on the right side of the Kinara, and 3 green candles are placed on the left side. 1 black candle, which symbolizes unity, is placed in the middle. 1 candle is lit during each day of Kwanzaa.
We always start with the people first, and then we put the candle up, and we light a different candle each night. So there are 7 nights in the celebration.
Mkeka means placemat. It is the base for the 6 symbols of Kwanzaa. This straw mat symbolizes a foundation. Nothing can be built without having a foundation on which to sit. The mat is where the gifts of Kwanzaa are placed. Vibunzi means ear of corn. 1 ear of corn is placed on the Mkeka for each child present.
Mkeka, and we lay it down, and then we have fruits and vegetables to represent people who work hard in the field.
Zawadi means gifts. On January 1st, the last day of Kwanzaa, handmade educational and cultural gifts are given. People celebrating Kwanzaa decorate with red, black, and green African-style fabrics, art, and clothing. For each of the 7 nights, families gather and someone lights one of the special candles on the Kinara. Usually, it is a child who gets to do this. Following the lighting of the candle, one of the 7 principles is discussed among family and friends. The symbols of Kwanzaa are closely connected to the 7 principles. Here is a list of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Oo-MOH-ja means unity. This principle is about building a strong family, race, community, and nation. It encourages people to come together physically and ethically. Oo-MOH-ja believes that when people come together, they are capable of anything. Kujijakalia means self-determination. An example of this principle is to speak up for yourself. You don't need to wait for someone else to define who you are. You are the one that creates your own identity. Ujima means collective work and responsibility. This principle is about helping others within your community. It says that we best solve our problems when we do it together. Ujima means cooperative economics. This principle encourages African Americans to build and maintain their own stores and businesses, and suggests that the community will all profit from those stores and businesses. Nia means purpose. It encourages people to find their purpose as well as to protect their legacy. It also teaches African Americans to build up and develop their communities. Kaumba means creativity. This principle talks about doing as much as you can to leave the community better and more beautiful for future generations. Mani means faith. It is about believing with all your heart in your people, parents, teachers, and leaders, and the righteousness and victory of their struggle. It teaches that without faith in your community cannot survive. The tradition of the 7 symbols and the 7 principles of Kwanzaa are values of African culture. They contribute to building and reinforcing community among African Americans. On December 31st, there is a feast held as part of the Kwanzaa holiday, called the Great Feast of Karamu. The 3 colors of Kwanzaa, red, black, and green, are especially important during this feast. The feast is held at a home, church, or community center that is decorated in an African motif. The feast includes traditional African dishes, as well as dishes with ingredients brought to the U.S. by Africans, such as sesame seeds, peanuts, sweet potatoes, collard greens, and spicy sauces. The foods are placed on and around a large Mkeka, and a program is given as part of the festivities. Like all special holidays, every family celebrates Kwanzaa in its own way. Most celebrations include song and dances, African drums, storytelling, poetry, and a large traditional meal. Millions of people every year celebrate Kwanzaa. It is a special week honoring the values of African culture while inspiring African Americans throughout the United States.
Hope you had fun learning with us. Visit us at learnbright.org for thousands of free resources and turnkey solutions for teachers and homeschoolers.